closure of the Christian quarter of Jerusalem over Easter reflects a much bigger thing, which is the systematic oppression and attack and assault on Christian Palestinians. So how do you feel being a Christian in Jerusalem at the moment?
Right now it's hard. I feel like I have to hide some certain things. So normally I wear a cross, but in these days it's difficult. You feel persecuted. I've been spat on numerous times.
Spat on numerous times?
Yeah. Of course not. It's difficult. And of course forbidden from our holy sites. Forbidden from our holy sites.
Yes.
Yeah, like the Holy Sepulchre.
And this is documented in a report published just this week by an Israeli organization, the Rossing Center, which documents the assaults. It records graffiti, trespassing, vandalism, stone throwing, garbage dumping, and arson on church properties in this area. It says this creates a sense of vulnerability for Christians around sacred spaces and erosion of respect for Christian religious life in the public sphere. A climate in which Christians feel increasingly unwelcome, pressured to conceal their identity.
But it's really big and it's inappropriate for this place. Okay? That's a Jewish place. You need to respect the place. Can you please put it inside?
Okay, this is very harsh. It's very harsh. No, you're not respecting my religion.
Can you please stop taking pictures?
You're not respecting. You're hindering me from my human rights to, this is not provocation. I'm an abbot. This is my dress.
These attacks are on the rise. The Rossing Center, which is highly respected, says that the majority of physical attacks targeted clergy, monks, nuns, friars, and priests, who are easily identifiable in public due to distinctive garments and visible Christian symbols. Spitting is the most common expression of hostility. Once it was carried out covertly, secretly, the Rossing Center says. Now it's performed openly. It says there's a continued and expanding pattern of intimidation and aggression, and Christians are affected not only as a religious minority, but in the case of Palestinians, also because of their national identity.
Ultra-Orthodox Jews spit toward Christians carrying a cross in occupied East Jerusalem this week, an act of religious hatred, igniting a scandal in Israel and beyond. Other videos, also widely seen on social media, show Jews spitting toward nuns outside a church. And yet another where Jews spit at a church doorway.
We bumped into each other last night at the Anglican Cathedral, the Maundy Thursday service, which is incredibly moving.
Yeah, it is.
And normally, afterwards, that service, the congregation walks down to Gethsemane.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, usually that's a time of prayer and singing, and remembering when Christ was arrested, before he was crucified on Friday.
Today, in fact, today is Good Friday, isn't it? It's the most solemn day in the Christian year.
It is. Last night I went to Gethsemane on my own. Prayed among the trees, saw the trees. Some of the trees were probably here when Christ was.
And so when he was betrayed by Judas, those trees were there. Gosh. As a Christian myself, here we are standing on the Via Dolorosa. This is the route which, by Christian tradition, Jesus Christ took, carrying the cross on his way to his crucifixion. To stand here at any time is profoundly moving. Today is Good Friday, just under 2,000 years since he made that journey. All along the way are the stations of the cross where particular events took place, like he stumbled and fell and so on. And what we're not seeing at the moment is pilgrims. The Israeli authorities don't want crowds of pilgrims. Now maybe we are seeing a group here. I'm guessing that's who they are. very small group of pilgrims going along following the footsteps of Christ on his final day on earth as before the resurrection.
It's not the weight of the cross of my sins to save me suffer from so much pain.
That's very, very somber, very moving group of British pilgrims following the Stations of the Cross. I'd love to go and talk to them, but I really can't bear to disturb them and talk when they're doing something of such significance. And so the Via Dolorosa turns right here, I think I'm right in saying. If you go straight on, you'll get down to Al-Aqsa. It's very frightening, some of the things that this report is saying, that harassment and violence against Christians continue in a climate which is intolerant of diversity and more assertive and what they call exclusivist national religious claims. It's difficult now being a Christian in Jerusalem.
Yeah, it is. It's very difficult. I feel like I have to hide who I am in order to maintain my safety.
That's awful in the birthplace of Christ. Why is that? What's causing it, do you think?
I think there's some political problems caused by my own government. Mm-hmm. That are
You're American, aren't you?
Yes, I'm American.
Yeah.
Not all Americans, of course, chose this.
Because you blame Donald Trump for some of it.
Of course. Any people who decide to make war in a land that's not theirs, they need to rethink that, I think. Come and visit us, see how we really live, if we really need to be annihilated.
The Rotting Centre talks of behaviour against Christians, which contributes to an atmosphere in which local Christians are made to feel unwanted in their own homeland, and Christian visitors and pilgrims made to feel like unwanted guests. According to testimonies we collected during our conversations, priests and nuns living in certain quarters of Jerusalem, such as the Armenian Quarter, which is just around the corner from here, and Mount Zion in the Old City, now face an almost certain risk of harassment each time they step outside. A nun walking near Damascus Gate, where we were this morning, was confronted by two Orthodox Jewish men in their 30s who yelled insults about Jesus upon seeing her. This means that Christians feel like that, they don't really belong, made to feel that. And it says that 42% of the people they spoke to in Jerusalem here report feeling uncomfortable displaying religious symbols. Think of that. This is the most sacred place in Christianity. It's where Christ died. It's where he was resurrected according to Christian belief. It talks about attacks on Christians in the context of an extreme manifestation in right-wing ultra-nationalism, which it says has become a significant factor in Israeli society. And then it pointed the finger at the Netanyahu government. This trend has been particularly evident among members of the current government and has been further intensified by the collective trauma experienced since October the 7th, 2023. What it's doing there, really, I think, is pointing the finger in particular at Ben-Gvir, the Minister for National Security, who's rabble-roused against Christians and actually described spitting on Christians as an ancient Jewish tradition. Not everybody agrees with him in the government, and he's been condemned for saying that, but he's a very, very vibrant, powerful figure in the Netanyahu government. This is a very serious, well-written, well-researched report by a very well-established and respected body. They're talking about Christians feeling they've experienced a gradual, subtle erosion of both their symbolic and physical spaces over the years. And it finds that approximately half of all Christians under the age of 45 are considering leaving this region. This is Jerusalem, the birthplace of Christianity.